season 2 of Stranger Things. No. Welcome to Nerdist News! Guys, did you watch the big game last night? If you did, chances are you're gathered around the water cooler with all of your office buds this morning talking about one thing. Lady Gaga, holy shit, Queen Slade, looked like glam rock Poison Ivy at a pride parade. Loved it! But once you were done talking about Mother Monster, you probably started talking about the other big monsters of the evening, the monsters in the Stranger Things Season 2 trailer that Netflix dropped out of nowhere. And even though it was a brief but beautiful 30 seconds long, every nook and cranny is jam-packed with precious info about what to expect when the show returns this Halloween, so let's break it down. Now, the teaser began as a bit of a fake-out, causing a bunch of viewers to wonder why they were watching an Eggo commercial from the early 80s before remembering that, oh yeah, Eggos are the food of choice for our favorite telekinetic preteen. That wasn't a crafty recreation, by the way. It was the real deal, a vintage Eggo ad that first aired in December of 1980. Also, Stranger fans of a certain age might recognize the boy in the commercial as Jason Harvey, a kid actor who worked steadily in the 80s, appearing in such genre classics as Back to the Future, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and The Monster Squad, but he's probably best known as Kevin Arnold's butthead of a big brother, Wayne, on The Wonder Years. Also, interesting to note, if you watch the full cut of that commercial, it references a multi-legged monster.
It's green and purple and has a million legs.
I don't know.
Me either, but it's crawling up your arm.
Oh man, those Duffer boys just can't resist their multi-layered references, can they? Moving on, one of the biggest reveals of the ad was that the kids of Stranger Things are apparently expert cosplayers. Have you seen these Ghostbusters costumes that they have? I'm sorry, but that is some bullshit. Anyone who went trick-or-treating in the 80s knows that the best you could hope for costume-wise was a plastic smock and crappy mask with a rubber band that would snap 5 minutes into the night. Also, you probably had to wear your jacket over the top of it, so it didn't even matter anyway. I'm not bitter about this at all, you guys. F***ing ruined my childhood. You'll also notice that the kids' proton packs look remarkably detailed, but could they have a double purpose? We think it's possible that their Halloween costumes might also be acting as camouflage for some real monster-detecting tech. Quite frankly, we find that a lot easier to buy than the perfect logos on their jumpsuits. Ghostbusters came out in June of that year, so there is no way they'd have con-ready costumes so quickly. Now, a few shots earlier in the trailer, we see that the kids are riding on their bikes in their Ghostbusters costumes, but there are only 3 of them. Then, when we jump ahead to this shot in front of the school, we see there are actually 1, 2, 3... Holy shit! 4! 4 of them! You can see his or her legs and their proton pack, confirming this is another member of their group, not just some rando chilling behind them. So who could this 4th Ghostbuster be? Well, the obvious choice would be Will, but as we'll see later, he was probably unavailable for any Halloween fun that year. 11 also seems unlikely since she probably won't come back from the Upside Down right away. That leaves us guessing that this mystery buster is actually our first peek at Max, the gang's new female friend. In an earlier write-up about the character, it was mentioned that Max is a bit of a tomboy who was more into boy stuff from the era than girl stuff. So it would make perfect sense that if she was going as part of a Ghostbusters group costume, she wouldn't settle for being Janine. Next up, we see Hopper caught inside of an exploding house, but wait, check out that deer head on the wall. That's not an exploding house, that's an exploding cabin. Maybe a secret exploding cabin, like the secret cabin teased as one of the season 2 episode titles. Not sure why he's in there, but at least we can say that the cabin is literal and not figurative. Also, knowing those Duffer bros, if we're in a cabin, that means there are probably a few Evil Dead references lurking just off screen. Don't go in the basement, Hopper! Also, stay out of the woods. Oh. Remember that one? Now let's take this trailer breakdown to 11 and look at some of our new 11 details. She may not be readily noticeable upon first viewing, but if you slow down this flash frame 8 seconds in, you get a quick but distinct glimpse of a pair of eyes that clearly belong to 11. Notice the bleeding nose, and oh my gosh, girl has been growing out that hair! No need for any surprisingly convincing Halloween store wigs this season. Also, looks like the guys at the Monster Lab have learned their lesson when it comes to breakouts. We can see in this bank of monitors that they have a camera now aimed directly at the sewer pipe that Elle escaped from at the start of season 1. Of course, There are even more secrets to be gleaned from this ominous row of government surveillance screens. We can see from the date at the bottom that this season actually picks up a little less than a year after the first one started. Will Byer disappeared on November 6, 1983, and here we can see it is October 30th, 1984. In the screen, we also get our first look at Paul Reiser's government muckety-muck character performing some sort of test on poor Will as Joyce sits close at hand. So how exactly is Will adjusting to life outside of the Upside Down? Not too great if this trailer is any indication. Apparently, he's still channeling preteen angst into his artwork, but now his drawings may be foreshadowing actual events to come. Check out this portrait of a spooky spider-like monster standing in front of a cloudy red storm. We get to see this thing again in real life when Will opens the door to his newly re-wallpapered family home. Now, is this thing real or just a dream? Well, our guess is that what we're seeing is a vision Will is having due to him being tuned into the Upside Down after his extended stay there, but that doesn't mean we won't see this thing enter the real world before the season ends. Remember, the original inspiration for Stranger Things were the fabled Montauk experiments, a rumored government test facility that also served as the basis for Stephen King's The Mist. In both real-world accounts and the classic King story, monsters break into our reality masked by a creepy mist. A mist very similar to the one we see the spider creature cloaked in. One we also see in a few flash frames throughout the ad, including this one where it hovers above a spinning arcade sign. So it seems like the red mist is spreading, suggesting that the entire world may be in danger from these invading monsters. After all, the tagline of this trailer is "The World," not just Hawkins is turning upside down. And of course, we couldn't end a Stranger Things breakdown without a few more classic Duffer Bros 80s references. We got Hopper stabbing the ground with a shovel in a very Indiana Jones way, this dude with a flamethrower which seems super reminiscent of Aliens, and of course, the red light in the doorway which is cribbed directly from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But are there more you noticed? And who is that fourth Ghostbuster? Who do you think that crying kid is? Hair is too curly to be Mike, too long to be Will, and the character has a girl's thermal but a boy's t-shirt. Mad Max mayhaps? What's your theory about the big spider monster? Let's discuss. Hey, the new episode of Mothership is online now. If you missed the live stream Thursday, make sure you check out all of the mayhem of our giant pizza challenge, plus the biggest game of the year, the Spider Bowl. Holy crap, guys. Honestly, we didn't even know there'd be a giant spider in the Stranger Things trailer during the Super Bowl. How did we predict that? We're just that good, I guess. Be sure to like and subscribe and keep checking Nerdist.com.